Plant-Based Network. And we are doing something a little different today because we're doing a cooking demo, which is actually really cool. And the cooking demo is with Kathy Hester, which I am very fortunate to be good friends with. And she's in our community here in the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina, which makes us also incredibly fortunate because she's been a part of Triangle Vegfest since 2014, which is great. She's done cooking demos with us pretty much every year, or she's done tips in the kitchen at the event last year instead of actually doing a cooking demo. I think that was last year. It might have been the year before, actually. I think it was the year before. So yes, they all kind of blend together. But I'm super excited because not only do we have Kathy Hester doing a live cooking demo with you, which I think I'm going to actually make what she's making for dinner tonight, but we have her books on virtualvegfest.com that you can buy during this broadcast or after this broadcast. And you can get them. And one of the most important things is there's the book about oats that it's an Outrageous, I think is the name of the book. Kathy's going to get one. And it's out of print. That's it. It's the only place you can get it. You can only get it on virtualvegfest.com. And Kathy and Cheryl will ship it to you right from their house in Durham, North Carolina. So one thing, let us know who you are, where you're from. Let us know that you're watching. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll be happy to answer them while she's doing her cooking demo. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Virtual Vegfest, because you can watch all our videos on there. So I'm going to throw this at Kathy, and we're going to see what's for dinner.
And Milty had one of those as well, and that is not what you want when you hear someone say Instant Pot. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in here because we're going to make our stuff oil-free. If you are not oil-free, I have no judgments. So my people are vegans and plant-based and transitional people. So you could also heat up some oil, and then I'm going to put some onions in to saute. Now, one of the things that you'll probably notice,
Kathy, one second. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. They're saying, okay, now they have sound. Okay, there was no sound for a second. So for the first initial time of the talk, so I hate to have you go backwards. There was the closed captioning, so I think that would help. But now they say that there's sound, so I'm going to hide me and let you do your thing.
Well, and you guys can ask me questions. So I think what I said is that we're making not fried rice in an Instant Pot, and that can make your head explode. Just that sentence right there. So what we're doing, and we also talked, this is a Milty electric pressure cooker. Hey, Miss Brandy, I see you. Brandy's one of my favorite people. So I wanted to talk a little bit about these onions. So I'm using the saute function. I have it on high. And you might be like, hey, those onions were frozen. And you bet there were. Because what I do is I get onions and I cut them up. And Cheryl doesn't like onions, so I have to mince them. You can mince them in a food processor. I somehow feel like it's necessary for me to do penance and cut them by hand. But then I freeze them, so I just grab out what I need for a dish. So I can cut them, I can even cut them once a month and then just use them all the rest of the time. It's a really nice time saver. Now, then I don't thaw them out. I just throw them in like this. It does take a little longer for it to get up and cooking, and that's okay. I would rather have this kind of time that I need to do than actually wasting time cutting them. So I think we talked, I'm trying to think of what else I said that you may not have heard. So a Milty is a brand, the same way the Instant Pot is a brand. The same way Kleenex is a brand, right? Or Scott Tissues is a brand. But we'll say, hand me a Kleenex. So an Instant Pot is often referred to as a multi-cooker that has a pressure cooker function. There are some that look more oval and slow cookery that are more slow cookers. They will bake and do some other things as well. Those are not electric pressure cookers. So if you're looking at something like this book, Gluten-Free Vegan Cooking in Your Instant Pot, or the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for Your Instant Pot, we are talking about an electric multi-cooker like this that has a pressure cooker function. So for today, while this is going on, and it'll take just a little while. And if you guys have questions, let me know. Brandy knows I love questions. So I have some soy curls, and we're not going to use these yet, but I wanted to show you on the overhead. There we go. And I've reconstituted them. So first off, if you don't know what soy curls are, you usually have to buy them online. I think, Colleen, didn't you say you were getting them through like a co-op situation as well? I think she was. And so it's just non-GMO soybeans that have been basically smushed and then dehydrated. And they look like this. So they look like big chicken strips. But it's not the same thing as TVP. Cheryl gave me a little fan to get things away from the camera. I think that worked. Okay, so they're just hard like that. Once you rehydrate them, then they're soft and squishy. You can rehydrate them with broth or anything like that. I just do water. I just want something plain, and then I try to bring in the flavorings with everything else. I see that Joanne is here, and everybody needs to say a big happy birthday to Joanne. She is awesome, and she actually has been doing some demos trying to bring more plant-based food to her community, which is pretty awesome. She has lots of good tips and things, and she hangs out in my free private Facebook group, Vegan Recipes Cooking with Kathy Hester. Okay. Trying to get that going right. Just going to move it a little bit to see if that helps. Let's see if it gets better or worse. I think that's mostly good. Okay, so we're just cooking down some onions. But I thought it was more interesting than just watching me for a second. So you guys can also put in your votes. Show the onions. So those of you who watch me a lot also know that I love my little garlic press. I got this at the thrift store for like $1, but you can get it out and about in the world. And I will show you my garlic crushing excitement and why I love this thing so much. Let me change. All right. And so literally, I've removed the husk, but that's it. And you just have to work out your frustrations, whatever may have irritated you today. And you can see it's got a little bit of the skin in there, and I'm going to leave that in. And then let me change the focus over here. And then I'm just going to put that in here. I do recommend, just like if you were using a regular garlic crusher, that you rinse and run the dish brush over this pretty quickly. It'll come out really nice now, but I can't guarantee in an hour or so if it will. Okay. I'm just going to let that cook a while. It smells really yummy. And the other thing I had said is that I use some water to saute with. However, if you eat oil, you could certainly put some oil, heat it up, and then add your onion as usual. My recipes usually have oil-free options or oil options, depending on what you're looking for. I try to be as inclusive as I can. It's important to me because if people came over to my house, I would have food for people who can't have soy or gluten-free or nuts or who can't have oil. So it's not that hard to do. Now, the one thing that can be hard if you're on something like Chef AJ's diet, which does no sugar, salt, or oil, we are going to use some tamari in this recipe. There is a special vinegar that has ginger. It's balsamic with ginger and garlic, which can be kind of helpful. But right now I'm trying to work on kind of a salt-free Asian umami sauce. But you could also, if you do low sodium, you could do coconut aminos instead. Okay, next, we're gonna add these soy curls because I squeeze them out mostly, but they're gonna have some wetness to them. And since I can just cook out some of that wetness there, so the sauce can get in there, right? Just gonna let those go for a little bit. You guys are quieter than my audience is. I can't believe Helene doesn't have any questions. And another thing in the recipe particular, I actually make this with just carrots, cook it, and then add the frozen peas after the cooking time. And today, because it's dinner with Kathy, I'm actually just using like a 4 veggie blend. And this is just an organic blend that I got at Trader Joe's. So I'm using a whole bag. What that means is probably the green beans and the green peas may not be as bright green, but this is for eating dinner and not for a photo shoot. So it changes how I feel a little bit about all that. And I'd say these are pretty dry. Okay. And then we're going to add, we've got the garlic in there. We're going to add 1/3 cup of tamari. Oh, and Joanne's asking, why can she see all 3 cameras? And that is because we are doing it through Be Live. And so I'm actually sharing my screen instead of actually going through eCam like I usually do, which I know is a little bit weird. And you know what? Probably, let me see if I can move these guys a little more out of the way. Is that a little less annoying? I know you still, I can't get the icons off of there if we're doing it this way. The eCam virtual cam that I use when I do demos with some other people works on Zoom, but it doesn't work with Be Live, unfortunately.
And this is going out to a whole bunch of people on the Triangle Vegfest Plant-Based Network side. It's going out to potentially 150,000 people.
Yay! Well, and it's just that my people are used, they don't see any of the behind the scenes. So they're like, what's going on? Okay, so I'm going to turn off the saute by pressing cancel. I'm going to go ahead and stir the ginger in. And I did want to just give a quick plug. I don't know if they're on Virtual Vegfest yet, but you guys probably see me with this cup a lot. That's the vegan Potter. Did those, and she's pretty awesome. I like the vegan Potter a lot.
Where is she located?
She is in the Northwest. So she was at the New England Veg Fest that I did last year. Yeah, last year in April. Not the one in Boston, but the one in the place I can't say. Worcester. I can't say it, so I'm not pretending. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put our frozen veggies in here because we're living on the edge, trying something new and exciting. Okay, just gonna stir these guys up a little bit. And whenever I'm doing a one-pot dish like this that has rice and veggies and other things, I do use whatever I have on hand that's seasonal, right? Or frozen. Frozen counts as seasonal in my book, right? Fresh enough. I'm going to put some long grain brown rice in there. Go ahead and mix in that a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit like a pilaf in that it's not going to be crunchy like fried rice, but you could put it, if you miss that kind of pan-fried crispiness on some of your rice, you could take some of this and put it out on a sheet pan and put it in the oven. You could also do that with leftovers before you froze it, and that would be like a little way to add crunch. But for me, I'm kind of like, you know, is this good enough? Like I said, this is dinner. This is not the fancy time. And I'm going to add some water. Yeah. Add some water in there. And then we're going to cook out, let's cook it for 28 minutes. I'm going to cook it a little bit longer because I'm using the Milsey 2.0, right? Yeah. So the Milsey 2.0 has this guy. So you can program it to release the pressure on its own, which is both fun and scary. So I thought it would be good to bring today.
I agree. It is looking delicious. And Cheryl is so fortunate because she actually gets to eat this.
I know if you were nearby, I'd leave some out on the porch for you to come pick up.
It might be worth the drive.
I don't know. It's pretty plain, but like you could add other things, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. I'm looking for my wipey rag. I have lost things all day long, you guys. All day long. Like in the most of all ridiculous things possible today. So I literally had something I was wiping moments ago that is somewhere different. But let's go ahead and get this dry. I think I said I was going to do a little like 28 minutes. Yeah, plus 1 minute. And on this particular model, I'm going to hit pressure release and I'm going to put it to quick. So what it's going to do is do its own little pressure release. And it will scare us all. I guarantee it. Scares me every time.
That's what Brandy says. It startles. It can startle someone when it goes off.
Yeah, because you forget and you're off doing your home life. You're living your best life and then poof, all the things are happening. But so with Soy Curls, where I live, I don't know if we can we get them at Cocoa Bean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she does
so you
have
can
them.
get them at Cocoa Bean. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them directly from Butler Foods. And Helene, don't you have a way that have you been getting them through the co-op?
No, I bought them through Amazon.
Okay. And you can buy, like, they are going to go bad. They are a natural thing. And they have oils in them, like not added oils, just soybean has an oil, just like flowers. So it will go bad. So if you get a giant amount, like I think you can get like, 25 pounds or something. It's this giant industrial box. You would need to put it in bags in the freezer because you're not going to use it up fast enough. And the other thing we're going to make is a little dessert to go along with that because I'm feeling a little desserty today. How is everybody doing with their whole new normal this week? Anybody feeling any different or the same? I think it seems like every couple of weeks I get a little whoop, but then I get a couple things done or like, oh, actually, I'll show you guys this. This is my new favorite thing to do, and I'm actually saved the end of the carrot that I grated for this. We're going to do mug carrot cakes. So look, I have a little garden. It's silly. It's a silly little garden, but these are actually celery root and carrot tops that I'm regrowing, and you can use that for garnish or in cooking. And there's just something cheerful about seeing this beautiful little garden right there. So I don't know if you guys feel that way. Maybe you're regrowing some produce too. It's a big hot topic these days. So we're going to make these guys. And you can see an up close bite picture of this guy. And it's a carrot cake in a mug. And like most of my recipes, this is using whole wheat pastry flour, but I can't have gluten anymore. So I'm going to be using this Krusteaz gluten-free all-purpose blend. And I was telling Helene we bought a lot of it when they were clearancing it out a long, long time ago. And so it's still going great. None of the, it's full of whole grains, but you could use the gluten-free blend that you want to use. You could also, if you don't want to use whole wheat flour and use like spelt or white flour, you could do that as well. This recipe is up on healthyslowcooking.com. At the very top of the menu, you'll click air fryer and then go to recipes, and you'll be able to find it there. So you can do this 2 ways. Now, also the mugs that you're going to use need to be mugs that can go into an oven. So that would mean no plastic mugs, right? Most of us don't have plastic mugs, but you could put them in ramekins. And I don't know if I have, yeah, you can cook them in little things like this, but you want it to be ceramic. Because when we're using something like an air fryer, it's a lot like using it as an oven. It's basically the souped up convection oven. So the air moves around a lot and it makes things nice and crispy, and it can make it without oil. Now, even though I'm not going to put the oil into these cakes, I'm going to go ahead and give a little squirt of oil in here. You do not have to do that. You could also take a piece of parchment paper and put it in there, then mix all the ingredients. I'm just going to mix everything in here, so this will make it a little easier to clean up. I've done it both ways. Okay, and let's get these guys here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some flour in. And you could do this just one. You could also do multiple ones like I'm doing. We're going to use a 1/4 cup of flour. And you don't really want it to be very packed. You want it to be kind of light and fluffy. Depending on what flour you're using, like we were talking about just a minute ago, you may need to add more liquid or flour. And that's just the way things happen sometimes. Now, that's when you're messing around with things. Now, you can use any kind of sweetener. You could use date sugar, coconut sugar. You could use regular vegan sugar. You could use maple syrup. You could use date syrup. But you hear how we're going off from the basically dry to wet ratio. So the more we go away from the recipe, the more you may have to just kind of put it together a little bit. This is not like real baking. I think this as being kind of pretend baking, because we can mess up and do all kinds of stuff here. I'm going to put a tablespoon. And see, the coconut sugar is much drier than a brown sugar would be. And then we're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Actually, let me move these guys up. My counter is too wide for me to be 5 feet.
Well, Elizabeth, she has a camera actually positioned above her counter, so she can switch the view so you can see what she's doing from above instead of in front.
Oh, Elizabeth, you've seen me do this before on demos. Then we want to do some cinnamon and ground ginger. We're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of each of those. And let's say you hate ginger in your carrot cake. By all means, leave it out. Just don't yell at me if you go, there's not enough flavor, right? You need to put something else in there if you choose to leave something out. And actually, I'm going to freehand it. I'm going to live on the edge of life because it's a Saturday night, right?
Exactly.
Woohoo! You didn't know it was going to be this exciting. I'm going to do a pinch of allspice. Kathy goes crazy making carrot cake in the kitchen. And we're going to do like a little pinch of salt. And if you're salt-free, you could leave it out. It's just going to actually bring out the sweetness. Using a little bit of salt allows you to use a little less sweetener. We're going to take a spoon because that's all of our dry ingredients. And we're just going to mix that up really good. The reason we're mixing this up mainly is so that the baking powder gets distributed well. You don't want like a bite of salt or a bite of baking powder, right? And you could even go ahead and like do times 12, maybe the recipe. And you could put it in a container and just take some of the dry mix out and then mix the wet stuff in with it. I've done that with baking mixes that were gifted to me. So another gluten-free person that I like a lot is Julie Hassan. She's in Portland, and she actually makes gluten-free vegan baking mixes, and her brownies and white cake are really good. So I have been known to dip into those mixes and make them in the air fryer. Now, I choose to make them in the air fryer instead of the microwave because they're gross in the microwave. So that is why I do it. If you like yours that way, I have no shame or shade to throw your way, right? If you like it, that's all that's really important. If you don't like it, then it's so much nicer. And plus, I mean, look, it's so cute when you serve it in a cup.
Now, Brandy, she's going to talk about what you can put in those that you don't necessarily have to put in raisins. You can put dates. You can put a whole bunch of stuff, or you can just leave them out.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, we're going to put carrots because carrot cake, right? I'm not that crazy. And then I actually have some really chopped up pecans that I'm going to use. There we go. There we go. And there's some raisins. There's a golden berry blend that has raisins, cherries, cranberry, and blueberries, which sound kind of exciting to me today. But I think I'm going to go with Cheryl. And since she's been doing a lot of stuff today for me and not put any of that in at all. So first I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the milk. Typically, I would use an unsweetened, plain, non-dairy milk. This has vanilla in it, and it has a little bit of sugar, and I'm okay with that. So you can switch it up. Just know that it's going to make it just a tad bit sweeter. So officially, we're doing 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons each, which sounds very precise. Who knows how I came up with that? I must have made them a lot and ended up doing that. Now this one may not be exactly what we need because I made them with whole wheat flour the last time I made them. And also, I get a little loosey-goosey, as you can tell, with my measurements, which it's also because I don't really expect it to be exactly right this time. I'm okay with going back and doing a little bit more. Here, I'll let you see. So that's pretty close.
Now, Jackie hasn't purchased an air fryer yet, and I can contest that you need to get an air fryer. It is one of my most used tools in the kitchen is the air fryer.
When you're mixing this up, make sure that you're catching at the bottom with your spoon or your mixing implement, because did you see how much flour I pulled up? I'm going to put just a little bit more. And so people always want exact amounts, which we give them. But in the end, is there really an exact amount? So many things change. And see, it almost looked like this one was going to be, oh, it's so close to going to pressure. It's warm enough you would think it would go to pressure fast. But we can think of something else exciting to do while that's going on, cooking too. I just have to think.
One of the tips you've given about using the pressure cooker is if you want it to get to pressure more quickly is to use hot water.
Yes, you can do that. Often though, sauteing usually gets it up a little faster. Oh, it's so close. There, almost. So close.
Yes, Joanne, it's definitely easier to use the air fryer than to heat up the whole oven in a house when it's summer.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's warm here today. We have a warm day. It hasn't really lasted to be warm here more than a day or two, but I think that might be changing now.
Well, I'm kind of surprised it was taking a while to come up to pressure, but sometimes it just does. And the Milthies are a little more temperamental as far as deciding exactly when they're coming up.
And yes, Brandy, air fryers are much faster than the stove. They cook so much faster than pretty much anything. You can get your food cooked so much. It's in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I mean, potatoes from raw are cooked in 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, it is really nice. I enjoy mine a lot. And the thing is like something like the Breville, which has an air fryer function, but is a toaster oven, that is going to take a little longer than like this Instant Pot one that is kind of spaceship shape, kind of flat egg shaped. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put in some carrots. So it says about 2 tablespoons of carrots. That looks about right. And I hand grated these like a grown-up, in case anyone was wondering if I did. And I'm going to probably put about a tablespoon of pecans. You do not have to use nuts. I just enjoy them. And you could put some mild oil in there or banana, but I think I'm just going to try them as is, as an experiment with you guys today, and let's see how it works. I think it should work just fine. When you're baking without oil, it is usually a drier product, but the main thing is that it doesn't stay fresh as long because of that dryness. It's not, the oil will hold that moistness. Now in here, the carrots are going to do that a little bit too. Let me I'm going to get a little spatula because I don't want to waste any of my goodies.
Yes, the recipes, because these are not necessarily completely in a book, the fried rice is not in a book.
The fried rice is in a book. It's in the gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot. And then this one is in the air fryer book, Vegan Cooking in Your Air Fryer. And it is on my blog, healthyslowcooking.com. The cake in specific. Does that help?
That definitely helps. I wonder if they can get the recipes. I know that you said that you might put these on a blog because
the fried rice isn't up anywhere, I don't think. I'll have to go. I'll look after this. I can't remember if I put that on the blog tour list. And if I did, it might have gotten up. What I'm also doing is just scraping along the sides to make it easier to clean up later on, because all those little bits and pieces are going to get baked on really hard. And I want to eat it. I don't want to just wash it down the sink. Okay. And you can taste it because there's no icky egg in there. So I'm going to put it on 350 for about 15 minutes. So let you see. This is the actual Instant Pot air fryer, just in case you weren't confused by appliances. I got this one because my Go Wise died. This is a larger one. And instead of having a basket that comes out like normal, this has this little guy, which I don't always love. Sometimes, oh good, Cheryl, nope, there it goes. When you turn out fries and potatoes, it will totally fall out. So you have to, I thought Cheryl found a new way to put it in. You have to hold it with something when you're getting the food out, if you're turning this over, or this hot metal thing will fall on you. Don't recommend it. The other thing actually is this is the Instant Pot one in specific. We're going to do bake, do temp 350, and it actually preheats. They don't all. So my Go Wise didn't preheat, and then behind me, let's see, you guys can't really see that, but this white one here is a Philips small, and I like it. It also does not preheat. So it's a little bit weird. Usually I do not use the preheat function on any air fryer, but with this one, I thought it would be really confusing in 3 minutes when it starts beeping at us to put something in. So I thought I would follow directions. Do you guys have any questions about what we've done so far? Like with this cake recipe, you could leave out the spices and the carrots and the pecans and put in some vanilla extract or almond extract, or you could put in some cocoa, maybe a tablespoon or 2 of cocoa powder, probably just 1 tablespoon for this amount. A little vanilla, maybe some chocolate chips, and make a chocolate chip one. So you can really do a lot of different things with them.
Now, Kathy, when it comes to someone wanting to find a recipe in your books, I'm guessing that you have an index?
Yes. So the indexer does them, though. So there is a professional person, so it's not always apparent.
Okay, so Joanne can actually look, to look for the recipe, she can look in the index of the books instead of searching through the whole book for what you're doing.
In fact, with my books from Page Street, in the index, in the table of contents, and actually I'll do it from overhead. It's so bright with the white, I don't know that you can see that very much. All the recipes are listed. On my books from Fairwinds, that's not the case. So, but it is here. So you can look in the index. The carrot cake is on page 183 if you already have vegan cooking in your air fryer. And the fried rice is on page 123 of my brand newest book, Gluten-Free Vegan Cooking in Your Instant Pot. And that's the Instant Pot air fryer, just to make life tongue twisty. It says to add the food. So we're going to sit these in here. We'll pretend that. And I think I'm cooking them for 15 minutes to start off with, so we'll change the time. Okay. So, and that's going to vary. So it would take longer to cook in the smaller air fryer than the large air fryer just because the wattage is different. So there is some difference between them all, if that helps at all. Do you have any other questions for me, Helene? Because we've got stuff that's going to be cooking for a while.
So is that non-stick, the Instapot air fryer?
It is.
It is?
It is non-stick coating.
Okay.
Which I know a lot of people are avoiding. So if you're avoiding non-stick coating, or if you're eating plant-based and you want to eat a lot of broccoli, this Instant Pot one holds a lot of food. So I will say that. So it would be good for plant-based people. If you're looking to not have a non-stick coating, the Breville, which is sitting over there, it's a very large toaster oven that has a dehydrator, air fryer, toaster. It has all the things. You can slow cook in it too, in a Dutch oven. So that one is all metal and it's not nonstick. And that's one of the reasons people will pay more money to get it. If you have the space in your kitchen, it's worth it. I dehydrate jalapenos to make jalapeno powder. I also go ahead and put in dried chilies to make my own homemade chili powder by grinding them together after they've been crispy dehydrated.
So here's a question for you from Jackie. Do you suggest a small or medium shred for the carrots?
I did kind of, let's make sure these guys are in there good. I haven't used these particular mugs with this particular air fryer, so I'm like listening to see if anything is unhappy. I think it doesn't matter. Usually what I do is I almost always have a pack of shredded carrots from Trader Joe's, and those are kind of thick and long, and then I chop them up. So whatever is the least amount of trouble for you to do. These, I think, let's see. I'll show you up close. I mean, they're longer. I used the big one, but because I used a proper shredder, I mean, they're quite thin. They're not thick like the ones that you can buy.
Okay, then Brandy wants to know, if you don't have soy curls and want to sub canned chickpeas, would that still be the same cooking time?
Yes. And you could also, that's a perfect question, because yeah, in the recipe, in fact, and in almost all the recipes I have, period, but especially the ones in the new cookbook, they're always soy-free options. So you could, and other options too. So I have it that you could do cubed tofu, like extra firm tofu you could throw in there. You could do tempeh, you could do chickpeas. And since we're doing, it's saying canned chickpeas, already cooked chickpeas, I would not necessarily do, I wouldn't necessarily do dried chickpeas from this. Even if you had them soaked, it might work, but it could be a little bit iffy. So I'm just checking on those guys. But yeah, you can substitute cooked chickpeas for any of this stuff all the time. Now, if you run across a recipe, because sometimes I will do something where I reconstitute the soy curls at the same time as I'm cooking everything. So instead of doing what I did this time, which was I used my kettle, I crunch them up into smaller pieces because that's the way I like them. And then I just pour the kettle of water over them, let them soak, and drain them. And I push them really hard with a slotted spoon to get some of that out.
About how long do we have before something is ready?
About 11 minutes.
All right, I'm going to put you on not your screen view and
Okay.
put you so that you're live. It'll be better. Okay.
Okay, and I'll move the other one to here too, so I can see everything the way it is.
Right, so it's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about you. What got you into writing cookbooks?
I was bored. I was working an office job, and I had an office and a nice job, and I'm not used to hearing it do this, like the things it's doing. It's making me nervous. And so I started a blog, and I was going to do a slow cooker cookbook just for like a self-published vegan slow cooker cookbook. So I had started a little blog. I had started putting recipes out around on, this was 10 years ago, so sites that don't exist anymore, basically. And a publisher found me through one of those because they had been looking for someone to do a vegan slow cooker cookbook. So it was a little bit of kismet going on. But as I did my blogs and did some things and started talking to people a little bit more, I ended up already starting from the very beginning making vegan options. I was a vegetarian at the time. And so it's just by my nature to be very inclusive. And now I've written 11 cookbooks. So.
Which one's your favorite?
They're like children. I don't think you get to have a favorite.
I was wondering if you were gonna go that direction.
Now, well, I can say, like, I think the plant-based community really likes Outrageous. They also like my Instant Pot cookbooks are very popular. So I think I've sold like over 250,000 cookbooks. Oh. So I've sold kind of a lot, but the ones that have sold the most was the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for your Instant Pot. They always make these very long names, and I would like it to be shorter. And the Vegan Slow Cooker also sold quite a lot of copies, and the Easy Vegan Cookbook has sold quite a few copies. And I think PETA bought a lot of the Easy Vegan cookbooks and gave them to Congress a few years ago. Wow. So that was exciting.
That is really, really cool. Do you think there'll ever be a day, this is something that I'd like to see happen, a day where the instructions for making something will include the air fryer?
Well, I do that some now. So like when I do my cooking classes, so I do online cooking classes. So that's why if you're watching this and you've never seen me before, why people are like, why did I see all this stuff on your screen? Because we're going through BeLive. So I use multiple cameras. So I use 2 or 3 cameras when I'm doing the cooking classes. So if I do something that can be done in an air fryer or an oven, I often go ahead and put up those instructions. I am working on an ebook for oil-free sauces. And so that's not really going to be, it's not going to make sense to have probably many cooking instructions. There'll be some, but it'll be like stovetop probably. But if I end up doing another cookbook, I could see that happening because like Easy Vegan Cookbook has stove and oven options, but it has slow cooker options, right? And a lot of my books will have slow cooker options from before or Instant Pot options now. But I think the air fryer is a great thing. And just because it's like, I think it's almost 90 degrees today, it's too hot to have the oven on. And that's one of the reasons I was thinking of making the steel cut oat sausage crumbles that you can put on pizzas and salads and bowls. And that recipe is up on healthyslowcooking.com if you look up steel cut oats sausage. But I would have had to have the oven on. It would, because you really want to have everything spread out to do that. So I would be more likely to do that in the Breville than my air fryer, and it makes a holy mess. So it would not be the best air fryer recipe, but you could do it. I do lots of things I'm not supposed to do that. And I'm like, Cheryl, it's your turn to clean.
Because you cook us. We have that deal in this house too. I cook, you clean. So Joanne, commercial products are starting to include air fryer instructions. What products? That's what I want to see.
Food? I think Jarden stuff doesn't it?
That is really, really cool because I make up what to put stuff in the air fryer. I mean, I have some ideas like 15-degree difference, but I just kind of make up temperatures when I cook stuff in the air fryer all the time. But I'm a loosey-goosey cook, so and it works. I don't typically burn stuff, but that's like really cool if you've seen it on commercial products.
I'm all about loosey-goosey. So the thing is that cooking doesn't have to be this hard, terrible thing. Yeah, Cheryl uses the air fryer. Hi, Miss Cindy. It's good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. But I know I've been just kind of popping on live and just being woo. Also, I have another Rancho Gourd on frozen foods. Yeah, it's where Joanne's been seeing them happen.
Wow. Okay.
But I got my new Rancho Gordo box. I'll do.
It is really sweet.
You know what those rules are. So this is what Kathy says, and I say it to Cheryl every day. How long would you cook this in? I would start at 5 minutes, check it, and probably go 5 minutes more. Then once you've done it once, you might just say, ooh, that should go 8 minutes first, right? But 5 minutes is my default check-in time. And not knowing how strong someone's air fryer is, it is always good to just kind of check in then and get a good feel, because you can't come back from like burning it to a crisp.
Most likely not.
You can try.
True, just scrape like the toast.
Well, that makes me sad. And for the carrot cakes too, one thing that you can do is you can mix a little bit of maple syrup in with some vegan cream cheese to make yourself a little frosting, or have it not frosted at all.
Yes, or just buy vegan frosting.
You could be lazy and buy vegan frosting. And I'm saying that because she knows my secret is that I got us a can of vegan cream cheese frosting when we went to Sprouts. Now that I go out in the world, it's like, oh, look at all the things. So if we go shopping instead of doing Instacart, we are just bringing home a lot of things that maybe we wouldn't normally pick up.
Do you know that I learned that at Sprouts, because I'm vegan and gluten-free as well, that they have a vegan gluten-free ice cream cone? Like the cones, like the sundae cones?
Yeah, we've gotten those a couple of times.
How are they?
Ooh, we probably need to switch cameras.
Okay. We can do that. Let me see.
Let me make sure this guy is near here. So it took less than 15 minutes in this one. Okay, awesome. So do you see how it kind of rose up from the baking powder? You can pick a place. I stuck a fork in there. There's still a little bit of moisture, which I'm okay with there being some. And you can do it in an apparent place if you're going to frost, or you can kind of sneak it over here. And I'm still counting that as coming out clean. What you do need to remember is these are hot, right? Don't pick it up with your hand. Sometimes you can use tongs. Set those here. But there's just something so cute. Like with me handing you this cupcake that says, do your best. You know, I feel like Cheryl should get that as a reward.
With the frosting.
Yeah, so with the frosting, we'll put just like a little dollop. And these will cool off, and actually, I'll go ahead and just open up a little bit of it. This one's a little bit raw in the middle still, but it'll probably still, I'm okay with it. It's good because it's still hot. It's going to heat up a little bit, but can you see how the cake is? Get a piece that's not right in the middle. There we go. That's not helpful over the, there we go. So it's going to be moist. It's not like you're waiting from like eggs to cook or anything. That's really good. This one may need to cook a little more in the middle, but I'm going to see if the heat doesn't just take it, because we're not going to eat them first. Although I'm thinking about it right now. We've got about 7 minutes. So if you want to switch back to the other cam, you can before the other stuff comes out. Trying to see if I can get this where.
My dog's going to go crazy, so you take it away.
Okay. So I think that you're putting up the questions, so I don't know if anybody has any questions. But let me do this here. I'm trying to put this so you might be able to, there we go. It's very close to my face, so I'm going to move over here because it's going to take about 6 minutes, and then it's going to let the pressure out itself. So it will be startling, and I will jump, and you are welcome to laugh at me. So what happens if we open this up and the rice isn't all the way done? We could add a little more water, and we could either, depending on how underdone it is, we could just put in some extra water and put it to saute. Cheryl said it's not over the camera. It's not under the camera. Jackie says eat dessert first. Yes, especially when, this is a pretty healthy dessert as far as desserts go, and it's already portioned out properly. That's one of the reasons I like making mug cakes, because it is kind of nice to have like a little bit of cake, but I can't really be trusted around a whole 2-layer carrot cake that we have to eat before it goes bad. The guilt, it's just like popping me in the face both ways. It's like, no, don't waste food. No, don't eat all that cake, right? So this saves me a lot of stress in my life. And also, then it's just kind of nice if you've had a long day, you've had a hard day, if this has not been your best COVID day of the quarantine, to make yourself a little snack. Another thing that I would like everyone to know, if they don't already know, is if you're cooking beans in the Instant Pot, it's an amazing thing to do. But beans are the variable. And what that means is I could tell you how long I cooked black beans yesterday. I could buy some more black beans, and they're not going to cook in the same amount of time. And it makes it difficult. But what's okay is that you can always put some more water in and cook it a little bit longer. Oh, and it has veggies. Yeah, carrot cake is the best of all of them. Like, actually, since I have some bananas that are ripening up, maybe tomorrow I'll do a live and make some banana bread in a cup in the air fryer. Oh. Or just make banana bread in the air fryer. Banana bread cool. I can freeze, right? I can take half that loaf and put it right in the freezer. The first thing.
That sounds delicious. You have me. Yeah, I mean, I might actually duplicate this meal. Not carrot cake, but I've been wanting to make cupcakes for a while. And I should have all the ingredients to do everything. Or a brownie. Making a brownie mug cake would be really simple. If I do it. I have to actually do it.
I know. That's why if you're like me, sometimes it has to be a special occasion to get me to want to do it. But I have some of Julie Hassan's mixes. And so actually every once in a while I'll take just some of hers mixed up. I think it's in the Revised Vegan Slow Cooker, which is one of the books that Cheryl just put up on Virtual Vegfest to send out to you. And you guys, yeah, Carol, banana bread would be good. Banana bread is Cheryl's favorite. So she may get some banana bread this weekend. Everybody's thinking good thoughts for her. I can feel it.
Most definitely. So yeah, she put up the books. Just so you know, if you haven't heard, Virtual Vegfest is our new way of getting our in-person events to your living room without you actually having to be around other people. But we have a bunch of vendors on virtualvegfest.com, and we have Kathy's books. So if you go and purchase them from Virtual Vegfest, you not only help Kathy, but you also help two nonprofits, which is Triangle Vegfest and the Plant-Based Network. So that'd be really cool. I'm wondering if you could be our first purchase, because we're just ready. We're at 95% ready for people to purchase stuff on the site. So you can be that person, because you can get all these recipes, because what else do you need to do? You're home, you're cooking food over and over and over, and you need some variety. So grab some cookbooks. That'd be really neat.
I don't know if there's a note section, since we haven't done this yet, but if there's a note section, you can tell me what you want to sign on your cookbook. And if there's not a note section or a place like that, you can email me at kathyhester@gmail.com. So I will make it out personally to you. Cheryl will be packing it up with her own two little hands and putting it in the mail. It's actually coming from our house.
Exactly. And yes, there is a way to communicate with the sellers on the site. So if you want to, I think there might be a note section, I'm not sure, but you can definitely get it transcribed in a way that it's a gift, or to you, or just love Kathy, which would be really cool.
Well, and I always spend a little bit of time when I'm signing books too. So it's kind of fun for me to sign them too, but it took a long time for me to realize that people wanted their books signed. You know, so sometimes people don't want to ask you, but then it seems weird going, would you like me to sign it? Aw, Brandy, you're so sweet.
I think Brandy Steven's yelling from the bedroom, yes. Would you like me to sign it? Yes. That's what I hear. That's what I hear in the background in my house. Oh, that is very sweet, Brandy. You've been very interactive. Thank you.
Oh, Brandy's a great friend of the plant-based community.
Okay. Oh, I hear that. Ooh. Are we waiting for like the explosion?
So if you're not really paying any attention and you're cooking something else, it's scary. So usually even in my cooking classes, so I do 4 to 5 recipes and it's like a 2 to 3 hour class. It's that you get to watch again. But so I'll have this over to the side. I'm working on something else and then I jump up like a cat.
That's actually really cool that it self-releases. Like, it's actually really, really cool.
It is. I really like the Milthy 2.0, and if anybody's interested, I think I have a code that you can get $10 off too. So, Helene, if you want me to, I can send that to you or put it on somewhere.
Yeah.
It's either $99 or $89. But for one of the big things and that keep people from using their Instant Pot is they're scared of letting out the steam.
It is so true. It's true. It doesn't really happen like that.
No, you have to do really, really stupid things to make them explode. And at that point, it's your fault. Not that that's ever happened to me. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do anything bad like that. Okay, so I'm going to switch to this camera. Okay, so since I don't really have a way to let the rest of the pressure out and it's still not all the way out, I'm going to click this pressure button and vent it a few times. And you can still see. And this part is really boring. So I guess you could switch back. We can switch back to here. And did you have some other questions for me while I'm making this noise over and over again? There we go. Sweet.
Oh, it's back. Is it ready?
Yes, it's ready now. And in case you didn't know, you shouldn't open that over in front of the camera, but there are little handles. So do you guys know that, oops, I'm trying to click on the one that I'm seeing, that they're handle holders on all except for the Luxe model of the Instant Pot. So that's one thing that you can do. But let's go back up in here.
And a little tip from a person that has had a 2nd-degree burn from using the Instant Pot. Really be careful when you take the lid off, because that water inside of that lid,
it is hot.
It is giving me a 2nd-degree burn on my wrist.
And so this is like the basic one. So I'm gonna, right now it's on keep warm, and we can get rid of some of that extra liquid. The most important thing for me to know right this second is the rice actually cooked enough? So I'm going to take a few pieces of rice. Yeah. It's pretty tasty. This is a base of fried rice. So you might be at this point, I want to add more ginger. I want to add more soy sauce. I would like to add some sriracha, right? You could even add like teriyaki sauce. There's all kinds of vegan, gluten-free, pre-made sauces that you could buy to add in this too. And this same mix, you could use nutritional yeast and not use Asian flavors at all and make it just like a chicken casserole. So there's this one recipe will make a lot of different flavors. We can make this Mexican. We could have thrown in a can of black beans and some salsa and maybe some chili powder. So something like this can be more than one thing. And that's one of the things that I really like. And though you can tell, like, these green peas are a little tired. They're a little less, they're not sparkly green, right? A little forest green going on there. But the green beans are fine. So if I was going to photograph this, though, at this point, or if you're following the recipe exactly as it said, I would put the frozen green peas in now and just keep it on saute until they heat up, until they're hot. And the way I tell is I just try to pick one up out of the spoon and go, ow, that's too hot. But you can also see them change from being kind of that super, super green to just like that bright green. And then it'll go to this kind of medium army green. But this also makes a lot. So what we'll do is we'll have it for dinner tonight. and then we'll freeze some. And then that way, one night next week when I feel like, oh, I wish I could have takeout, I'll just take it out of the freezer and heat it up. So there's a new kind of takeout going on.
That's awesome.
I know. I'm doing all of Howard's dad jokes, and Howard isn't even here to help me out.
I know. You can watch it later and you can comment. So let me go back a second to that recipe. You didn't add any water.
Yes, I did. Oh,
you did add water. Okay.
Okay. I added about, I think the recipe says to do 2 cups. I did things a little bit differently. So I think I did about 2.5 cups of water. It was 2 cups of long grain brown rice. Okay. But you could use short grain brown rice as well. I have another recipe in there. It may be on either plantbasedinstantpot.com or healthyslowcooking.com that uses white rice to make something like this. That's more of like that nutritional yeast kind of chickeny dinner. But then you can make something like that in minutes, right? Because white rice only needs to cook about 6-7 minutes instead of 20-some minutes. And normally what I would do, and I said this in the recipe, when I'm not using the Milty 2.0, I would go ahead and let it count up to being 10 minutes on just keep warm. Then I would release the pressure. I decided I didn't want to do that because it's not exciting to watch. So you didn't miss anything, promise. So then I tried to save you, but that's why I bumped up the cooking time a little bit longer. So you can always kind of fudge back and forth. If you know it says to let it natural pressure release, you could always up the cooking time and do a manual pressure release. Just know that too.
Yeah, the manual pressure release always, it's always that scary to me.
Oh, and shoot, I wish I had known that before we were doing this, and I would have had another one ready. I can show you this sort of here. Okay. We'll pretend this was the lid we used. There are a couple of ways. Okay, so we'll pretend that this is on there. I don't want it to go on and get, it comes with these little plastic utensils, and they have holes in them. So you can grab this guy, and that gives you a good 6 cents and go, you can also just lightly touch it. Because when it's up to pressure, it'll go and go back, and you have to open it up for it to go really loud. So you just let it out little by little. And then I'm trying to see, the dragon doesn't fit on this one, but this is the ultimate thing. So there's my dragon. I got him on Etsy, and it goes over a regular Instant Pot thing. It doesn't go over the Milty. And basically what you do is you turn it, and the smoke comes out of the dragon's mouth. It's awesome. So you're not touching it. It redirects it from the counter, and it's not too hot to do this. And it goes, wow. And so in some of my lives, people will be like, get the dragon, bring out the dragon. And this is what they're talking about. It's about $15, and you can even get some kind of pipe like at Home Depot. I'm not handy, so I don't know what kind. And I'm happy to give the Etsy people my money. Also, this was a birthday present to me a couple of years ago. And there's nothing like having a dinner party and having a dragon breathing smoke on your counter.
That is so cool.
You need this. And if you're like a Game of Thrones fan, I think they have that wolf, whatever is from there too, but there's all different kinds of these. So just look up. Most of them, you do need to pick a specific kind or size of multi-cooker. So it'll be like an Instant Pot Ultra or a this, that, or the other. But so, yeah, don't be afraid. Just allow yourself the space you need to be comfortable. So Like, for instance, I'm going to stick my finger on it, right? Because I know where the heat is, where it's going to be. You could also, actually, let me bring the lid back. You can have a spoon, a wooden spoon. You could have this, and that gives you a little bit of room too. But this gives you a good amount of room. And this one doesn't really fit on this one that well, but it'll still work. If it was, it's giving me no resistance, which is why it's wiggling around like this. And you can just keep doing that little bit, let a little out, let a little out. You don't have to just let go like we did earlier, right? Let it be within your comfort zone. And that will help you a lot. But one of the things I try to teach people in my lives and in my classes is that you don't need to be afraid of it. You just, once you know your parameters, then you're all good to go. But it's true, even there's condensation in this lid just from me putting it on to show you those things. So like what Helene was saying is that her lid had a lot of water and then got on her and burned her, if I'm correct. Is that correct, Helene?
Yeah, it spilled on my wrist, and I ended up going to urgent care and getting some of that really nifty burn cream that helped immediately for me to feel better. And I had a big blister. It was serious, and it was from the Instant Pot. And I kind of avoided my Instant Pot for a little while after that.
Well, it's like the same thing with an air fryer. Like I have really pale, thin white skin. And so gets burns from the oven, just from like having to nick something or in the air fryer. And it's a matter of just knowing where everything is will help you a lot too. I'm not telling you to throw caution to the wind, but know where you're comfortable and just give it a try. If you're totally scared of it, you can let it naturally pressure release in a lot of recipes, but sometimes that means you're going to eat 40 minutes later. Because sometimes it'll take 15 minutes to come down from pressure. Sometimes it'll take 40 minutes to come down from pressure by itself. But it may be almost there and you just click it once and then it's done. So let that be your first try.
So Joanne was gifted a Trump steam venter with orange hair and the steam blows out through his mouth. That is fantastic. But we won't harp on it, but that is really fantastic.
I'm trying to see. I have a little guy. I think I moved him earlier today because he doesn't fit on any of mine anymore. I'm going to gift him away, but he is like a guy, the steam comes out of his ears and everything. There are a whole lot of different ones of those, and it's kind of cool.
It is, yes, that's really cool.
But the dragon is fun.
Yes,
I think the dragon is my favorite.
It goes with your Harry Potter theme.
It does go with my Harry Potter theme of life.
Yes. Well, cool. So this was, I'm going to put us on us again. And I'm guessing cooking wise, you're good, right?
Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to show anyone cooking wise?
Does anybody have any questions? And so you're just putting it on us, meaning?
Yep. I'm going to go here and go here.
Okay. The other view. This view.
Yes, view. Yes.
Okay, great. And I'll move this out of the way. Okay, cool. If anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to answer. I just wanted to make something quick and easy. And because we can be more tired than we think we're going to be these days with everything going on, don't underestimate the amazingness of having frozen cut up onions. You can also freeze chopped mushrooms, chopped peppers of all kinds, and chopped mushrooms without doing or chopped onions without doing anything ahead of time. You just have to chop them and freeze them. I freeze them in thin Ziploc bags, and that's just so I can knock it against the counter and take off exactly what I want. And sometimes we do Chop and Chat live sessions over on Plant-Based Instant Pot Facebook page. And so I really put off my onion chopping, and we chopped onions for 2 hours one time. And I'm just about to go through those now. But it's awesome knowing I don't have to do it. And it's awesome knowing that you have, mixed vegetables or broccoli florets. All those things are just nice to have.
Exactly. So if people wanted to find you, You've mentioned some of it through this talk, but now let's put it all in one place. Where can people find you and do your cooking classes and your blogs and everything? Tell us how people can find you.
Okay, first, my blogs that have lots of free recipes are plantbasedinstantpot.com, which does have all Instant Pot recipes, and healthyslowcooking.com, which does not have all slow cooking recipes. It was my first blog. It has some Instant Pot, air fryer, stove, oven, all of the things. And you can find me on Facebook attached to those. You can also join my free favorite, I guess it is my free favorite and only private Facebook group, Vegan Recipes, Cooking with Kathy Hester. You can get my classes. I have some older classes that have been pre-recorded from past years on kathy-hester.teachable.com. And if you use the code Eat Healthy, Be Kind, you can get $15 off. So the classes are $20 each instead of $35. The new May classes coming up, which I just put up, and the classes from this year on a new platform. And you can get there by going kathyhester.podia.com. And there's a whole bunch of different things there. There are different things you can do. And I think Helena's going to put up Triangle Vegfest affiliate links to those. And I would love it if you would buy those through her affiliate link. It helps the Vegfest. It helps me too when you're coming through the classes. And there is, I am extending the free trial for the classes for people who are unemployed and underemployed. And Helene has a special link that she can put up about that. I'm everywhere these days. So, but if you don't remember anything else, just remember plantbasedinstantpot.com. You can kind of get everywhere else from there.
That's absolutely incredible, because I know that even through this virus crisis, you've still been very busy. So I really appreciate your taking the time to do this with us today, because I mean, you've made my dinner. Now I have to just go cook it myself. And just for everyone,
I could just ladle it up for you.
I know it is. Trust me, there's something we need to drop off in Durham, so it's quite tempting for me to like say like, Steven, let's go. So just for everybody else, we do these lives twice a week typically, and next week on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we have Ren Hurst, who lives out in Oregon. Super, super excited. I absolutely adore her, and I look forward to catching up with her. And then on Saturday at 4 p.m., we have Dr. Shayla Toombs, who lives in Tennessee. So we can talk about your health and the pandemic, and you can ask her questions. And if you don't know who Ren Hurst is, I highly, highly, highly suggest looking her up and then joining us live, because to be blunt, she's cool as shit. So it is totally, totally worth the time to check her out, especially if you have any companion animals, or you work or go to a sanctuary where there's animals. You definitely want to hear what she has to say. So, Kathy, thank you. And Cheryl, enjoy your dinner, because you're very fortunate to live with someone who all she practices cooking and you get to test everything. That's really incredible. So everyone else, enjoy your Saturday, and we look forward to seeing you next time. And Kathy, I love you very much.
Oh, love you too. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining.
All right. See you next time. Bye.